All right, I want to talk about what's sort of ambiguously known as the simulation, and what it comprises and how it affects your lives, the human beings, the species on the planet. So most of us would suspect that there's some sort of control system over all governments, because they all have the same agenda. What is it? To control the people. That's not what they were originally installed for. They were to oversee infrastructure, essential services, and what have you. That all got changed to, turning people into tax-paying indebted slaves. So we would agree that most of us would, that there's a hierarchical control grid or system over all governments and their participants. Governments are really corporations, and those corporations are tier driven down to and run under a meme protocol. So everything is a meme. Your smartphone holds many types of memes, whether it's social media, whether it's video games, whether it's dating apps, whatever it is, it's a meme. Now, a meme has to have participants, and a simulation is a copy of something. It's not real. It's one reality, but if you're within the simulation and you're under the premise of a meme, again, could be corporation, could be the hospital system. As a worker, you are what's called a mimic, because you're mimicking back to the copy, which is the simulation. So we are classed as within the simulation as mimics. So we're not really having a life of our own. We're mimicking for the simulation under a meme control system. That's what we are. Once you know this, and you can step back from that simulation, then once you realise, you can't unrealise, you can't unsee it. I, for example, I don't go out very often anymore, because once I've seen what it was, I couldn't participate in it anymore. Fortunately, I'm retired, so I don't have to go to work. I don't have debts, and all those days are gone. So my time is my own. I have a free life, so to do and go wherever I want. But I don't go out into the simulation anymore, because I realise it's not real life. It's not freedom for most people. So when I see it, it's a little bit sickening to me, because they don't see it. Because generationally, they've been programmed the same way. And so really what your life is you can really term it as a battery that has a charge, that's called energy, and you expel that energy every day under a meme process, which feeds the simulation, which feeds a hierarchy. And I won't go into the hierarchy, but it's a hierarchy that's had control of this planet for about 45,000 years. And they don't only control this world, they control many worlds, even up to half a galaxy away. I know this because I've experienced it, and I talk about this in a book that I've written, 3 books that I've written, but one of them goes into the simulation in great detail. It's called the Rupture Trilogy. Anyway, so while you were in unconscious agreement as a mimic to feed the simulation via the meme that you're under the control of, and all these memes that you spend your time with, and unless you're asleep, having your nightly nap, you're under some sort of a meme control system that you have to agree with. You know, whether you sign up to Instagram or WhatsApp or whatever, you have to agree to their terms and conditions. That's a meme. You have to agree to their terms and conditions, then you can participate in it. Whatever you post is monitored under that meme, which feeds back to the simulation. So what does this all mean for you as an incarnated being? In other words, you came in through a fetus, through a woman, and then you're programmed. And the school system is a program system, another meme. Well, most people are indebted. They're indebted to almost an indentured slave, because there's really no way out unless you paid off all your debts, and then you can say, okay, well, I'm still running under a meme system because I'm in a simulated world. That's all by design. And so when your battery drains, in other words, you run out of energy, you get old, you're recycled. When you go off planet, there are different corridors of holding of that consciousness. And then you are slotted back into another body that suits the next agenda, but it's got nothing to do with the evolution of your soul, because once you're fractured and you're in the simulation, then the soul has little to no evolution, because it's so fractured it needs to go through recohesion again. That can't happen in the simulation because it's not meant to. You are a recycling battery that runs out of charge, comes back charged as a young person with energy and hormones and all the rest of it. And then you go out into the world, into the simulated world, under some sort of a meme, and then you play the role of a mimic again. So each lifetime that you've done that, your soul comes in a little bit more, or maybe a lot more fractured. And so with that fracturing, you are further and further away from the God source, or the source that gave you this, the creator that gave you this life, this body, this whole surroundings. So if you get fractured too far out, which has been the whole idea, then to get cohesion or reclamation of your soul again, you have to detach from the simulation. You have to get awareness to be able to do that. That takes time, it takes awareness, and you can't stay in the simulation if you're going to get out of that looping process. Now, the real danger we've got now for the human species is AI feeds on data. And what is the data? You are the data. But you are also being replaced by AI until AI doesn't need you anymore. And when it doesn't need you anymore, it runs out of data, because why? Human beings won't be around. The whole purpose of this, where they're at now, is to get rid of the human species off this planet. And at the rate that they've got it planned, within another 40 years from today, the planet will have about 90 less people on it. 90% less people on it. That might seem unbelievable, but that's what's going to happen. And by 2070, the only ones that will exist will be the ones in the Amazon rainforest and parts of New Guinea and other isolated pockets, or the ones who just totally go off grid and live under buildings or something. But it's dire circumstances for humanity, and really, this is really just an introductory dissertation to what's really happening. And AI is not your friend. Think for yourself as much as you can. Don't keep asking AI assistance for this shit, because if you do, you'll just become irrelevant. And once you're irrelevant, you're deleted.